A very warm welcome to all the participants in this refresher course. Myself, Dr. Neelam, faculty in the Department of Applied Mathematics, Delhi Technological University. The title of my first lecture is that Introduction to Mathematical Modeling. So first of all, we'll try to explore the what is mathematical modeling. So this will be the outline for my today's lecture. First lecture, that is what is mathematical modeling, why mathematical modeling, goals of this, uses of mathematical modeling processes, then types of mathematical modeling, some basic definitions. Then we will discuss some of the principles of mathematical modeling. Then some examples will be given. Then we will discuss that why we should use this in infectious disease. And then finally, we'll discuss some of the limitations for this mathematical modeling. So first is, what is mathematical modeling? So mathematical modeling is an attempt to study some part of the real world problems in mathematical terms. That is, the conversion of physical situation into the mathematics using suitable conditions. Mathematical modeling seeks to gain an understanding of science through the use of mathematical models. You can see that by this diagram that a final mathematical model may be developed by a use of mathematics, computer science, and then science, which will be giving us the real life problem. Then we see that why mathematical modeling is required. So to improve our fundamental understanding of how a system works, to predict or project how the system will change over time and possibly in response to manipulation. It has emerged as a powerful, indispensable tool for studying a variety of problems in scientific research, product and process development, and of course, manufacturing also. It improves the quality of works and reduces changes, errors, and rework. Mathematical model is only a complement, but it does not replace theory and experimentation in scientific research. Goals of mathematical modeling. There is an appreciation of broad use of mathematical modeling. It provides hands-on experience with simulation techniques. It develops communication skills working with practicing professionals. Use of mathematical modeling. As we have already discussed that it has emerged as a powerful, indispensable tool for studying a variety of problems in scientific research, product and process development and manufacturing. These are the areas, these are the scopes of mathematical modeling, but this is the list is not limited. So we have seen that it can be used in seismology, manufacturing, medicine. In recent past, we have seen one very good example that it has been used in preparation of corona vaccine, biology, climate modeling. Climate modeling, we have seen quite a few examples in which the forecast which was being done by the use of mathematical modeling has saved many lives, and of course it has reduced the economic loss during the any climatic changes. Economics, environment, material research, drug design, and this list is not limited. Mathematical modeling process. So first, this is the first step in this process, that if we have a real world problem for which the mathematical model is to be developed. For this real world problem, we will simplify the problem and we will try to convert this real world problem into a working model so that variables and other conditions can be written for this working model, and then that's how it will be a mathematical model will be developed which will represent this working model. Once we have developed this mathematical model, then it will be translated into a computational model to carry out the computations and to simulate the results out of this mathematical model. Now, this result, they should interpret the real world problem. That is the outcome which we would like to have. That is the forecast which we would like to have on this real world problem. These results should interpret that condition. Then these are the types of mathematical models. So first is discrete and continuous, static or dynamic, linear or non-linear, deterministic or probabilistic, qualitative and qualitative, explicit or implicit. So in these are the six combinations out of which we need to decide that in which combination our particular situation is lying. So, a discrete model. A discrete model treats object as discrete, such as the particle in a molecular model. A clock is an example of discrete model because the clock skips to the next event start time as simulation proceeds. Continuous model. A continuous model represents the objects in a continuous manner, such as the velocity field of a fluid in pipe or some channel, temperature, electric field. So that's how our situation, our real world situation cannot have both the situations. Either it can be represented by a discrete model or it will be represented by a continuous model. Similarly, we need to decide whether there will be static model or dynamic model which will be more suitable for our situation. So static model is a static model calculates the system in equilibrium and thus is time invariant. A static model cannot be changed and one cannot enter edit mode when static model is open for the detailed view. This is the limitation of the static model. Dynamic model. A dynamic model accounts for the time-dependent changes in the state of the system. Dynamic models are typically represented by differential equations. Similarly, we have to choose whether our model is going to be linear model or a non-linear model. So linear model is if all the operators in a mathematical model exhibits linearity, the resulting mathematical model defined as linear. A linear model uses parameters that are constant and do not vary throughout a simulation, while a non-linear model introduces dependent parameters that are allowed to vary throughout the course of a simulation run. And its use becomes necessary where interdependencies between parameters cannot be considered. Similarly, we need to choose that whether our model will be deterministic or probabilistic in nature. Deterministic model is one in which every set of variable state is uniquely determined by parameters in the model and by the set of previous state of these variables. Deterministic model describes behavior on the basis of some physical law. When we have probabilistic model, then it is the one where exact prediction is not possible and randomness is present. And variable states are not described by unique values, but rather by probability distributions. Then we need to decide whether our model will be qualitative or quantitative in nature. So it will be qualitative. A qualitative model is basically a conceptual model that display visually of the important components of an ecosystem and linkages between them. It is a simplification of a complex system. The humans are good at common sense with qualitative reasoning. So that's a good example of qualitative model. While on the other hand, when we would like to have a quantitative model, these models are mathematically focused and many times they are based on complex formulas, complex typical formulas. In addition, quantitative models generally through an input-output matrix, quantitative modeling and simulation give precise numerical answers. So whenever we are using differential equations, they will be they are coming under this quantitative model. Then again, we need to decide whether it is going to be explicit in nature or implicit in nature. Explicit model, they calculate the state of a system using the past time from the state of the system at the current time. While the implicit model in implicit model, the solution is obtained by solving an equation involving both the current state of the system and the later one, which require extra computation and could be harder to solve. So we need to decide whether a implicit model will be defining our real world problem in a better way or the explicit one. There are some basic models. So these three categories are there. We have all these examples are of differential equations. So first category is where the examples have been decided for the ordinary differential equation. Second category, we are having some examples which are having two simultaneous first order or ordinary differential equation. And third category is containing some example which involves partial differential equations. So these are the examples which are best defined by in the form of an ordinary differential equation, that is exponential decay and radioactivity, Lake-Leishman model, Drake assimilation, and exponential growth. That's it. Then two simultaneous first order ordinary differential equation. The best example is epidemic model. It may be for influenza or for any other disease. Then predator prey model, model of battle, a combat battle model, and a competing species interaction. Then under this third category, where the equations will be partial differential equations. So they are heat conduction problem, oscillating soil temperatures. So these were the some basic models which involves a differential equation. Now, then there are certain principles of the mathematical model which we have to follow while preparing the mathematical model. First, we identify the need of the model. So this is the first principle. Then second principle is that you need to list the parameters of variables which are required for the model. Then we need to identify the available relevant data. Then fourth principle is that we need to identify the assumptions that can be applied on this real world problem to convert this into a mathematical model. Then we need to identify the governing physical principles. We need to identify the equations that will be used. We need to identify the method of calculation that will be made, the solution which will satisfy the given physical problem. We need to identify that we will be testing the consistency of the model and we will be checking the utility of the model. We will identify the parameter values that can improve the model. This work will be the exercise which will be done after obtaining the result from this mathematical model for a particular physical situation. Then here are some mathematical models which we have already, given the example that exponential decay, radioactivity. So that's how we decide that what physical phenomena is involved in this one, and then this will be this is the input-output compartmental diagram for radioactivity for radioactive nuclei, and then based on this, this is called compartment model. So based on this process, we will be able to write down the differential equation for this particular phenomena. This is lake pollution model. That is, we need to take mass of pollutants in lake, but for that, we should have the mass inflow and then output will be the mass outflow. So whatever changes are happening in this compartment, they will be written in the form of this differential equation. Then drug assimilation into the blood. So we will be having two compartments here, GI tract and bloodstream. So that is when we were saying that real world problem should be converted into a working problem, we need to say that we need to identify that how many compartments my model will be having. So that's how this will be the working model, that when we decide that there are going to be two compartments, one is GI tract and another is bloodstream. Now, this is the progression of drug assimilation model in the two compartments of GI tract. This is GI tract and this is the another compartment, that is blood. So drug intake will be going to this first compartment. In this first compartment, digestion is happening and then it is getting absorbed in the blood, and then from blood, it is transferring it to the tissues. So this is called the IO compartment diagram for drug assimilation, or the progression of drug assimilation into the two compartments of GI tract and blood. So this is model number 2. This is course of cold pills. So here a drug intake is assumed to be occur simultaneously. So that's how the equations will be written. So here two simultaneous first order differential equations are written for this particular type of modeling. Then exponential growth model, that is this is the world population, how many births are taking place, how many deaths are taking place. So that's how it can be represented by one compartment, that is world population. This should be population, of course. So this is world population, and then input is that how many births are taking place and then how many deaths are taking place. So this will be able to explain the change in the population at any point of time. So that was all about the first lecture, in which we have discussed that how many type of modeling can be there based on our real life situation, and then how the situation can be converted into a working model. So we'll stop this for now, and in next lecture we will try to try to develop a model for a particular real world problem. Thank you very much. Stay safe.